Watch the Good News Wednesday show. Good News Wednesday's finally here. Let's stand up and give a cheer. Watch the boredom disappear, 'cause Good News Wednesday's here.
Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Donovan, your host of the Good News Wednesday show, brought to you every Wednesday to put a smile on your face and help you get through another challenging week. And this week, we've got some holiday weekend to look forward to, Father's Day, and I thought I'd share a few things about that. We've got a couple of other exciting things going on tonight. And I just thought we'd start out with our usual question of the week. As you know, each week we ask you a question to help you get your brain in gear for the rest of your week. The question this week is this: I start out tall, but the longer I stand, the shorter I grow. Think about it. I start out tall, but the longer I stand, the shorter I grow. I'm sure you have the answer. The Incredible Shrinking Man. No, not really. A candle, of course. Okay, I hope I didn't get you. Now on to something of greater import. Tonight on Strategies for a Happy Life, we're going to be talking about lessons from Dad. Very apropos for this coming weekend. So this week I was reading and I came across a post from someone who gave me an idea, because I like to stand on the shoulders of giants and utilize someone's idea and then make it my own. I hope that you enjoy doing that as well. So the name of the article was Lessons from Dad, and it was some of the things that she learned from her father. So then I said, well, why should I tell lessons that she learned from her father when I could share some lessons that I learned from my dad? So that's exactly what I plan on doing. So my dad, when he graduated from high school, soon thereafter, he went into the Army, World War II. And when he got out, he quickly adapted to join in the family business, which was the oil business. And no, not Texas oil, that kind of oil. It was oil delivery and oil burner repairs. And that's what his dad did. His dad was an expert at that. So he drove the oil truck and he fixed oil burners in the middle of the night when people didn't have any heat. And so from that point forward and all through his life, he then became kind of an entrepreneur, starting several businesses, one of which is still going on today and is run by my brother. And so these are some of the lessons that I learned from my dad growing up. So here are three of them. First of all, he was always willing to help the underdog. Whenever he saw anybody that was trying to do something and they couldn't do it or they needed a helping hand, he would jump in. For example, one day I remember he saw a neighbor out and he had just gotten home from work himself and he saw the neighbor was having trouble, I guess, pouring a concrete sidewalk. The next thing I look over and there's Dad helping the guy with his concrete mixer because the guy never learned how to do that before. And he was down on his hands and knees helping him pour concrete. So, number one, always be willing to help the underdog. And he did that all of his life. He'd always go around, and when he saw somebody that needed help, he was the first one to jump in. Number two, I know there's a song already written about this, but I think my dad could have written it. It is Don't Worry, Be Happy. His outlook on life was such that everyone called him the perennial optimist. He always had a smile on his face and a good word to say about everybody. And he always liked to go around whistling and cheering people up. And just to look at him made you smile. And people would say that about him. And I'm sure that you have someone in your family like that. Don't worry, be happy. Number three, if you don't know how to do something, you can figure it out if you just give it a try. And that's often what he did, from the oil business to the air conditioning business to the pool business to the concrete coatings and topping business, all of which were businesses that he started during his careers. He would always come up with some creative ideas. He'd always be thinking, whether it was a slogan or a song about promoting advertising for his pool company, and I could sing a funny song about that one, to making display boards of various designs and colors for the concrete coatings and toppings business, which he used on driveways, walkways, pool decks, and various other things. He would always be coming up with creative ideas because he always sat there, thought about it, and then tried it. He was a man of action. So those were three things that I learned from my dad. What about you? Do you have things that you maybe learned as you were growing up? I was thinking, what about all the folks that are celebrating Father's Day with their dads this coming weekend, which is a real blessing. And if you have that blessing, please don't blow it. Enjoy spending time with your dad. However, if your dad only lives on in your heart, I came up with a couple of things that you could do this weekend so that you could celebrate the memory of your father. Number one, how about enjoying a favorite dessert, food, meal, beverage that your dad enjoyed and celebrating him and maybe making a toast to him, depending on what it is that he enjoyed. Number two, why not take out a piece of paper and do just what I mentioned earlier in my little blog here, and that is identify some of the strengths that your dad had and write them down, and then think about what strengths you have that you learned from him. Sometimes it's that introspection that gives you some extra joy in your life. And number three, think of a funny or quirky thing that your dad did to help you bring a smile to your face and some joy to this coming weekend. So I've been thinking about what I'll do to celebrate my dad, and I guess that it won't be going out golfing, because the last time my sister and I went out golfing with him, I'm not going to mention names, but somebody got hit by a ball. However, I think I will enjoy a nice big bowl of chocolate ice cream. We hope that you too can learn some lessons from Dad, and we wish you all a very happy Father's Day. So, would Dad be happy that you have a broken screwdriver and a bent pair of pliers in your junk drawer? No, he would not. He would want you to have a basic, perfect toolkit. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Everybody needs one of these that they can keep at their house and possibly one in their car. It could come in very handy someday, and you would make Dad proud. So, what are the things that you need in your perfect basic toolkit? Well, I've got a couple that you'll probably already think about, but then there's a couple that are really going to come in handy. And here they are. First of all, you know you need the basic tools. A good set of screwdrivers, a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and maybe a few other assorted sizes that'll work out in those tight spots. Then a good hammer and a good set of pliers, as well as a wrench. Now, here's some of the things that you probably didn't think about having in your toolkit. One of them is a vice grip. Now you say, what is a vice grip? A vice grip resembles a standard pliers. However, it can actually clamp on to the item so that you can turn it. For example, you can use it to undo a screw that's really stuck, and it can clamp onto the screw and actually turn it. There are many other things that will come in handy for, believe me. Next up, wire cutters. You know, the times when you tried to cut wire with the scissors and all it ended up doing was wrecking your scissors. How about getting some wire cutters and putting them in your toolbox? It would make a great addition. Right, we've got pencils. What do we need pencils for? Well, pencils are good for marking something that you want to cut or put a screw in or a nail in, and you need to know where to mark it. So a pencil would help. Then we've got the blue painter's tape. Blue painter's tape can be used for a lot of things. Yes, it can be used for taping off areas where you're going to paint so you won't get paint on the other area. But it's also good for things like taping down something that's sticking up that you need to have fixed and you want to remember, like your flooring piece or something like that. And a blue piece of blue painter's tape will do a great job in a pinch. Next up is a cordless drill. Now, you may feel that that's a little extravagant to have in your basic toolkit, but believe me, you will find this one of the most useful tools that you will ever want to see, because not only can you screw in screws so you don't have to keep turning and turning, but you can use them to loosen screws. And there's all kinds of adapters and bits that you can put in there, and it will come in really, really handy. Just don't forget to charge it. Next up, a utility knife or utility blades that break off. Either one will work, but have something nice and sharp in there that isn't sticking out of your tool kit to scratch you or cut you. But you will be able to utilize that from everything from opening up boxes to your craft projects. Believe me. Okay, rulers and straight edges definitely have to have a small one and a large one, as well as a tape measure. Tape measures are incredible. Get a good tape measure that's at least 25 feet long. Those are the greatest. It would also help to have some putty knives, some spackle, so you can touch up those nail marks that you make in the wall. Those are good. And also some packing tape. It looks like Scotch tape, only it's nice and thick. That'll help you to wrap up those boxes and everything that you got to make to return all those things to Amazon that you bought that were the wrong things. Glue. Have an assortment of your Gorilla Glue, your super glue, and your wood glue so that you can use those in your various projects. And last but not least, along with the glue, make sure that you have some solvents in case you have an accident. Goof off is great. That is one of the easiest ones, and that gets off most things, except for probably the super glue, which you're going to have maybe acetone for, but I wouldn't recommend carrying that around in your toolkit in case it spills. Okay, I hope that you are prepared for your next assignment, project, or whatever, and that you too can set up your basic, perfect toolkit and make Dad proud. Okay, in keeping with the topic tonight, the question is which president was the dad of the most number of children? This way, they got to teach many lessons to their many children. So who was the one who got to teach the most number of lessons to the most number of kids? Who was the president of the United States? This was very interesting. Here are your choices. We have John F. Kennedy. We have Franklin Roosevelt. We have John Tyler. And we have George H.W. Bush. Okay, so was it A, John F. Kennedy, B, Franklin Roosevelt, C, John Tyler, or D, George H.W. Bush? And the answer is John Tyler, C. Oh, okay. Who is John Tyler anyway? Okay, John Tyler was the president between 1841 and 1845. 1841 and 1845. And he had 15 children. Now, he had his first wife, he had 8 children with, and she actually sadly passed away while he was president. And she was the first, probably, and maybe one of the only president's wives who passed away in the White House. Anyway, then he remarried and he was still in the White House, and that was the first wedding in the White House. So he's had a lot of records. And then his second wife had 7 children. So John Tyler. Now, if you're curious about the runner-ups, we will share those with you. The next runner-up is Thomas Jefferson. He had 11 children. William Henry Harrison had 10 children. He was the president actually right before John Tyler. Franklin D. Roosevelt had 6 children, as well as George H.W. Bush with 6 children. So those were the presidents that had the most kids and got to teach, apparently, the most lessons to their kids, who hopefully learned them. All right, we've enjoyed our time with you this evening. If you like the program and you're on Facebook, please give us a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to ring the red bell so that you'll be notified of future episodes of the program. Until next time, this is Karen Donovan, your host of the Good News Wednesday show. Remember, take care of those you love and make it a great week. Bye.
Good News Wednesdays, find me here. Let's stand up